What's up, guys? Welcome back from WCS America. Hopefully you're having a beautiful and fantastic Thursday evening. I know I am, watching some awesome StarCraft 2. What about you, Nick?
Awesome. Yes. The Muslims games were super enjoyable. That last game was awesome to see too, because that's a style of Zerg that I like it because it's a lazy style. So when I play Zerg, I kind of do it. I mean, Violet was doing it way less lazy than me. He was being super active with the army, covering all the grounds, and Macarin obviously way beyond what I can. But it's a style that you guys can play at home, actually. So it's super fun to watch when a pro gamer does a style that doesn't rely. It relies on solid game sense, not on being able to split 18 speedings against 32 middle ones.
I don't know if that's actually possible, but
probably not.
I understand your point. Here we are in Game 2 on Whirlwind, a very important game indeed for this player in the bottom right-hand location. He must win 2 in a row to advance to the WCS Premier League right now, or he'll be dropping to the Challenger League group stages. Representing Kespa Team 8, he is Major Juanito Lopez. His opponent in the top left-hand location, or excuse me, the bottom left-hand location. I present your Red Zerg player who's 1 win away from advancing to the WCS Premier League Season 2, WCS America, that is. Representing Team Azubu and hailing from Korea, he is Violet. So, how does Major approach this game, considering how the last one went?
Well, he has to be a little bit happy that this map, that style doesn't work nearly as well on. 4 corner maps is hard to do like a turtle stack defense type style. Just because there's, instead of you being able to take your side of the map and then leaving them to theirs, it's you would take your corner and they'd get to the 3 corners.
Right.
So as the game goes along, it's going to be a little harder to do that style. He really needs 8 gases as well. And this map is a little bit trickier to hold the 4 bases in Eklan Waste. That's not to say that style doesn't work here.
Right.
It's just not quite as good. This is also an amazing map for drop play. So we'll see if Major continues to use that. I think one thing he's got to be thinking is, okay, if he's going to do Roach Hydra, instead of using all my resources on drops, he needs to either progress up the tanks or aim for a late game composition where he adds in the Ravens. So starts aiming for those a little earlier.
What if you try to construct some sort of giant frontal push? Because imagine if he never really split off the medevacs for the drops and just went for everything down the middle. You know, a Zerg player who's you know, investing a lot in stack defense is not only, you know, the stack defenses cost money, but you're losing drones when you're doing that, and you're having to replenish with more drones. You know, maybe you're going to be a little bit light on the units again, which is why the efficiencies are so important. But I feel like some sort of,
if it's wide open area,
right? Exactly, some sort of push where you can really split up your units and take advantage of the fact that, hey, your opponent only really has, you know, doesn't have a lot because, or as much as they could, because they're investing so much in the static defenses.
This is true, and on Eklan Waste, the weakness, like maybe he can't push. We saw him try to push you to the 3rd base a couple times, and it's always that choke. You get fungal, you're gonna die. And same thing probably if you try to go up to the natural. But you could kind of hold the ground below the natural, and then that base to the 4th location, you could probably take that out. And on 6 gas, there can't be as fast with the Broodlord transition. And if you're up a base up, you just starve them out eventually. That would be a great way. I think ideally, if you're going to do that frontal attack, you would add in more tanks. And it would be very difficult to stop. Like, you could probably try to hit a timing, like right when their hive finishes. If you have something like 8 tanks, and Marine Marauder, but that's something you have to be aiming for from earlier on.
I think if I was doing it, I would shoot to try to deny that 4th, because that's a 4th that's actually really hard to defend as a Zerg. You know, Major did a good job. He had those Widow Mines in that little space in between, and unless those rocks are killed, it's so hard to go reinforce that. And that's like a typical, you know, you see this in the matchups too, you know, Terran versus X, where you're trying to isolate a base by preventing reinforcements. I think that'd be a very solid strategy to try to go for. Major kind of did it in a certain extent with the Widow Mines, but it just wasn't enough for for Major.
Yes, that is always what you want to do, is try to trim the Zerg bases down. If you can hold the Zerg to 3 bases, then they're not going to be able to quite get all that. That's a very gas-intensive army. Hydralists are already a 2-to-1 ratio of minerals to gas, and then Infestors are very gas-heavy. Broodlords, of course, are insanely gas-heavy. So it's a tricky composition to get up to, and it's kind of something that you have to make a game plan revolving around that idea. And Major's game plan coming into it was, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just keep him busy with drops everywhere while I macro up, and eventually he gets overwhelmed. And when your opponent builds like probably had 12 to 15 spore cores by the end of the game, you can't. He had to change the game plan and he didn't. And I think he donated probably about 80 food that game.
It's funny.
Drops.
We are remaking the game, by the way. Violet did drop. You know what's funny about that? It's like, I wonder if that's something that, like, obviously Heart of the Storm, you know, medevacs, that's like everyone's talking about, you know, speed medevacs are so good. And they are, you know, when used well by the top players. I wonder if that's a situation where, like, Violet was kind of developing the strategy as he gets more and more frustrated with medevac drops. Like, all right, screw it. Let's just put spores everywhere. No medevacs in this game. Sorry.
You know, it's almost exactly what Terran does. If you look at Terran versus Terran and you watch the top Terran play, once it gets past about 10 minutes, they'll literally put like 8 missile turrets.
I need 10 cannons in PvT.
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe that's that. You know, that may have some merit. The photon cannons aren't quite as strong. Against air.
Yeah, photon overcharge and mothership core.
Yeah, that'll help out.
I want 2 mothership cores. I need to talk to David Kim.
You do.
Wouldn't that be sick? 2 mothership cores? That might be too much.
You spread them out.
That'd be so cool, though. Like, imagine sending 2 different armies with 2 different mothership cores. Then when the Zerg comes, you can just recall both of them out. Or what if you can recall one mothership core to the other mothership core?
That'd be tricky.
Sick. I'm going to make a custom game and call it a map tester.
Well, it'd be like the old recall, where it brings it to the mothership from Wings of Liberty.
Yeah. Is that how it worked? Yeah, that's how it worked. I'm like, it's so long ago, I just forgot. I haven't seen the mothership in so long. Whirlwind. Of course, I think we got the wrong map made.
Yeah, a little bit of error in the map, so we'll get that re-hosted up in just a second.
But yeah, really cool style from Violet. Going for the mass static defenses. You know, theorizing if it's because out of frustration from, you know, initial medevac play. But, you know, that's a really good point. It's starting to be applied to other matchups as well. Again, if those drops...
been doing it forever.
Sure, exactly. You know, if those drops are really annoying, you know, why not just put all those static defenses out, replenish with the additional drones, and that can really save a lot of headaches in the ZB, you know, the ZVT matchup as well. So, you guys should try using that at home.
It is something I think you have to be a little careful about because if your opponent can kind of figure out you doing that really early, they might be to just build like a billion command centers,
right,
or something like that, and then start teching really heavy. Because a Terran in a late game can actually be pretty scary. They have like a lot of Ravens plus, like if they get like Raven BC with a lot of missile turrets and like Marauders, medevac stuff. It can be pretty tough to deal with that. But like every Terran, it's a really good build to throw in because that's something they have to immediately start going for very early. Is this heavy macro style. And most Terrans, especially a Terran, if you're going to Major or even if, let's say, you're playing in top level Kree, you're going up against like Innovation, who really, they're both so heavy on the drops, and that's their game plan. You do something that forces them to change their game plan. First of all, they may not think of changing the game plan because they're in the heat of an individual game. You don't want to try to rethink your whole strategy.
Maybe that's happened to Major. Like, you know, because if you're going to make a decision like that, like right when you see all the stacked defenses, that's something you have to do right away. Like, for example, when Suppy's identifying, okay, this scary push is coming across the map, I should start setting up some static defenses. You know, right when Major identifies, oh, you invested a lot into static defenses, which means A, your army's going to be much smaller. B, you're, you know, throwing a lot of money into this thing that's not actually being aggressive towards me. I have the ability to set up a billion command centers and tech up really nicely. You know, once you delay your thought process enough where you actually try to go for some drops just to see how meaty it is, you know, you're delaying that enough where it's not necessarily going to work. And your Zerg opponent is able to get that tech switch a little bit later that exploits you. But, you know, a lot of that came down to lack of scouting perhaps from Major, because he didn't know about the Broodlords until they were killing his stuff.
This is true.
And then he immediately threw on two starports, so...
I think, he just didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
It's also one of those things where it's like easy to look back at the game or look at the game when you're not playing and say like, okay, the reaction was incorrect. But when you're playing the game, you're so intense in it, you don't want to stop playing and take a minute to think, what should I do? Right. It has to be instantaneous reaction.
StarCraft 2, it's real-time strategy. Real-time strategy, not wait a minute and then strategy.
And you kind of go with whatever you practice, right? When in doubt, do what you practice because even if it's not the most optimal response, it's the one that may be the most optimal because you're best at it. And that's what Major is best at, and Violet found a way to counter what Major is best at.
Violet has replaced the batteries in his calculator and ready to go. In game number 2, this is the remake. They're in different locations than last time. A pretty interesting development. In the bottom left-hand location, I'm proud to present your Red Zerg player, who lived in America for a time. He hails from Korea, representing Team Azubu. He's 1 win away from advancing to the Premier League of WCS America Season 2. He is Violet. His opponent in the top right-hand location of Whirlwind. The blue Terran player caught off guard by Broodlords and a bunch of static defenses from his opponent in the last game. He must win 2 in a row here to advance to the Premier League of Season 2 WCS America. Right now, hailing from Mexico and representing Team 8, he is Major.
I feel like Major is going to go Command Center first. He loves Command Centers. I mean, he went Command Center.
I wasn't watching too close. Oh, did he do it in the last game?
He did go Command Center first last game.
Okay.
And it's something that Major, he just likes to build Command Centers. He's a very macro-focused player.
Oh, yeah.
He's almost one of the players who's so talented, but I think he's almost too predictable in a way that, like, no one ever, like, I've seen him 2-racks, I think, 2 or 3 times in literally, like, 100 TVZs that I've seen of him play, and it's a situation where Zergs can probably start exploiting that to some degree. And I think that's what happened last game. Like, Violet knew exactly how Major would play. He knew that...
He did drone... oh, no, he scouted with the 4-lings?
Yes.
I don't know if he scouted with the drone earlier.
I mean, even without scouting.
Sure.
It's just, yeah, he's just, like, Major kind of almost always does the same thing, and that makes you a little bit exploitable. And if you're playing a guy like Violet, if you're unpredictable and you force him to be very conservative and honest and have no idea what you're gonna do, he's insanely difficult to beat. If he has kind of an idea of the way you're gonna play, if you're gonna go drop heavy or not, I don't even know how you can beat him if he has a good read on you.
Violet going for early speed again. He kind of did this in the last game. You know, wanting map control. A Reaper is going to be an issue. Not on this map though, usually, but you know that's why a lot of Zerg players go for that earlier speed.
Hellions, if not a Reaper, it's going to be Hellion. Terran almost always, unless they're Bomber, they're going to get one of those 2 units.
Fast 4th command center. Off of 1 barracks. Crazy like
who is it? There was someone who used to do that build all the time.
Let me just start naming Terrans?
No. It was someone not like super well known. It was.
But still start naming.
It's a game that would take forever, but it's funny. There are like Terran can do builds like that sometimes, just because you can't scout them, right? So it's a build that can mix in, just because like as a Zerg player, how are you going to get past their natural?
Are you talking about someone who just like didn't make SCVs and only made command centers?
No, they would make SCVs too.
But it was like a build back in the day, Platinum League or something, where it's like just don't make supply depots.
Don't make supply depots. Centers. So you can't even build many Marines because you have to keep constantly building command centers this year. That's a novel concept.
It was an interesting prospect.
You can have a lot of comsats, scans.
Yes.
You know, these are very bold Marines. Oh, they were. You know what? They were concerned. SCV said, "Help! Help! I got Zergings on my tail." And the Marines were like, "We got you, man."
Coming.
Yeah, they moved out across the map, escorting the SCV back.
That's good to see. That really that fills my heart with compassion.
You know, I like never do that.
You don't save your workers.
No, I have like a Mothership Corps hanging out like a stalker all in front of my base. They're not doing anything. They're just hanging out, right? Just like these Marines were. My probe's being chased around by Zerglings, and it's screaming for help. And my units are like, nah, we're just gonna chill at the base.
It's cold-hearted, man.
I have to take notes from Major.
Values every unit.
He does, except for the ones in Medivacs.
That's true.
But in the early game.
I take back what I said.
In the early game, yeah. He's doing the same opening, the 3rd CC, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go double eBay before he adds any more production facilities.
Yep.
Really planning for that heavy mid-game focus type of opening.
Yeah.
Violet teching very quickly this game.
Yeah, no fast third. Remember last game, he took a really crazy fast third. This time, 4 grasses already on the ground. Going up to layer.
No evos.
Spire is likely.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be at this point.
Definitely. Yep. There it is. Where do you put it? Did you hide it somewhere?
It's back of it. It's in his main.
It's hidden.
Yeah.
He had to tell an overlord to drop some creep over there.
Between the main and natural, right?
It's pretty crafty.
And that'll avoid most scans, which is cool. And it's not in a crazy like some people put it in like the corner of the map, and that'll avoid scans too. But then later in the game, you know, a drop chip will fly over, and you'll lose your Spire, which is an expensive build. It takes a long time to build as well. So kind of in between zone right there. And this is something if Major doesn't see it coming, the Mutas can do a ton of damage. But Major's going to have several advantages going forward. One is he has a little better economy with that faster third orbital. And then second, assuming he's going to start 1-1 right now, he's going to have significantly better upgrades because Violet just can't afford upgrades with I mean, he's taking so fast for Mutas, he needs all his gas to get that Mute explosion, or else there's no point in taking for him if you're not going to make enough to do anything.
Now, the good news is he's going to have map control. I mean, the Hellions aren't going to be able to do much, so he can really get that creep out there, which is nice as a Zerg player. You're going to be very happy with that. He's going to be able to protect this third, and we saw how annoying, you know, Major loves to be with the drops. Of course, Mutas are instrumental in dealing with drops if you're again not incorporating a lot of static defense. There's a scan, not seeing the Spire.
I wonder if
he see how much gas is being mined.
Yeah, he could click the gas. The gas is in the main wouldn't tell as much as the gas is in the natural.
Right.
I think he has to be suspicious, though, at the very least, because he hasn't seen Roaches move on the map. He hasn't seen Evos or anything like that. I don't know if he's popped up the top of the natural ramp. So he's definitely very suspicious. When you see it reflected, he's already built a missile turret in the back of his natural, and he's protecting his main as well. He's read the build very well based on the lair timing and the fact that there's nothing out on the map. The third was elite from the Zerg player. And he's actually going to see the Mutas right now with these Hellions.
Oh. Is Violet going to take a shot? No, he's going to go straight for the mineral line, or at least attempt to. But now realizing he's seen, going to try to peck on some of those Hellions. Going to try to deny this third base as long as possible. Oh, wanted to save that overload. That would be nice.
It's not just losing overload, it's losing the ability to put creep on the third and that third down.
Absolutely. Of course, then you can kind of keep your opponent away or force them to pull Marines out there, and then you can attack into the main or whatever, and then you can dip and dodge between the main and the third, and that could become a really annoying circumstance. But Major able to take that overload out, the Marine with its last shot. Get him.
So right now Violet is pretty unhappy because he just has to say, you know what, I'm a little bit behind. My Mutas haven't killed a single SCV yet, and my opponent, you know, went fast 3 orbital and fast double eBay. Oh, actually, now he's getting a couple kills here. He's got to be careful though about these Mutas getting stuck. But there's no risk. Okay, there's the first one. He's actually getting a lot of damage though.
Turret getting some damage done too. One Muta's gone. He's just going to hold his breath and run right through. Meanwhile, Hellions poking in at the third, but they're going to be ushered away by those Lings. Creep continuing to be spread yonder. And the Muta's going to try to track down those Hellions at this point, I would imagine. Or at the very least try to be annoying towards the third a little bit before turrets get up. Be an excellent deal.
Major is going to push out here. He's got 1-1 upgrades with medevac support. Oh, the Mutas!
No! Violet has to pull away those Mutas. Oh, God. He just lost 6 or 7. That was a lot of losses there. Major taking his opponent off guard. And now what's to stop this army? This is a pretty formidable army. I don't see any Banelings in production. There we go. 4 Banelings just now in production. 1-1 is not yet complete. Major might go straight for this third base. But
it's got to be... He only has 1 medevac.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where on creep against speed Banelings, even four speed Banelings could kill that whole army.
Oh, did he get speed on his Banelings?
Yeah, he does have the Baneling speed done.
Got it.
And if Major had more than 1 medevac, I think he would have gone in, but with only the 1, you couldn't see the units. And actually, seeing all these Mutas is nice for Major too, because he just realized, okay, Violet just rebuilt a bunch of Mutas. And that's important to know. It basically
not transitioning
means
into anything else.
Exactly. There's no infestor transition, no mass Banelings being morphed, which means if he didn't see the Mutas, he could think, oh no, what if he's morphing a whole ton of Banelings and he's going to prepare to do some big attack on my third base. But seeing that that's not happening, he can just be confident to sit back, defend the harass, and then go for a 2-2 timing, or perhaps just macro it out with an upgrade advantage.
Yeah, able to secure this third alone is great for him. Got to be careful about the Widow Mines. Get a nice shot off on the Mutas there.
And Violet's trying to do a 2-pronged aggression here. He's moving into the third base with a lot of speedlings.
So Widow Mine up there. Got to be careful. Oh, the Widow Mine's going to get a great shot onto the Lings, killing about 14 of them. 10 Widow Mine kills in total, actually. Baneling's getting a lot of damage done to Marines as well, and continuing to try to be aggressive here. Attacking the Mutas into the natural. It looks like the SCV is running away immediately, and now Major's going to have to try to deal with all this multi-pronged harassment from Violet. Killing a few Mutas there, I think.
Yeah, killing a few Mutas, but I think Violet is pretty happy with how effective the unit trades were. Major trying to deny this 4th base at the bottom with some Marines. And he almost has 2-2. I think these speedings might not be enough, but more speedings come join the fray. That should be enough to defend his drop. And Muta's returning to try to pick off that medevac as well.
Did he ever get +2 melee attack on the Zerglings? Okay.
They're going to be Zerglings with blunt claws.
Poor little guys.
And the Marines are going to have some nice blue level armor.
And of course that affects the Banelings too.
Yes. Every little bit of damage does help. Banelings, of course, get +4 in each attack upgrade against Light. So very nice to get those upgrades. Violet's trying to add Infestation Pit, and I think he's needing to go to Spire to continue upgrades. Oh, the Mutas are swinging back to the natural, but there's 2 missile turrets now and Sim Marines. No entryway there at all.
Widow Mines.
Oh, those Widow Mines are sneaky.
And Drilling Claws, not yet been upgraded. But look at this huge force heading to the south side of the map here.
There's no creep here. Creep is so important.
Violet's going to try to set up a flank. The Widowmine's going to get dropped into the ground here. Violet's going to go for it, trying to split up those units. But here come the Banelings trying to get those important detonations onto the Marines. So many medevacs up above, but a large portion of Violet's army is in the north there, not doing much. Now we're turning to the south. Wow. Great Baneling hits here from Violet, and he's going to hold this off.
Major really, I think the situation had to pick the Marines up in medevacs and jet back to Widowmines, but he actually took some big hits there. Major's macro, though, was so good. He still has another stream of units coming out here if he can protect it. Oh, if he can protect his medevacs.
Oh, God. So many medevacs lost there from Major. Just like that, Violet. Oh, wow. That, what was that? That was weird.
It was a Widowmine.
It only has 4 kills, though. A lot more died there, I promise. Right?
Yeah.
Didn't they? Am I completely...
Oh, you know what happened?
What?
I think there was 2 Widowmines. And
one of them
died,
okay.
Because when you kill the Banelings, it takes 3 Banelings to kill a Widowmine. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Is that
you should be a mystery novel writer. I think you'd be good at that. Because you solve that mystery.
I do enjoy reading them.
There you go.
So, Violet making a lot of Banelings, which is he has a hive tech, but no immediate desire to transition to hive tech units. Just continue using the hive tech to continue upgrades. Morphing a lot of Banelings. I think he anticipates another big push out from Major, and he wants to just absolutely squish it.
He's playing safe, which I like. Of course, he still has an Overlord parked over his opponent's 4th on the right there, so he can identify that. Doesn't have anything at the top of the map there, though, at that other 4th that can potentially be taken, so I'd like to see something over there. No burrow research or anything.
I'm a little surprised Major isn't taking the 4th base quite yet. He's just staying on 3 orbitals. He hasn't even built the 4th.
Wait, really?
Yet. Yeah, I don't think he has So really trying to make this pressure work, but every time he tries to move out, Violet's been very good at just stopping these armies.
And yeah, as this game goes along, Violet's army, Violet's units are going to be much more easily replenishable versus Major, considering Major's only restricted to those 3 bases. And again, he's been dropping mules this whole time, making a bunch of Marines, but not getting the best trades.
Oh, he's going in again and again. There's no creep, so with good micro, the Marines should fare fairly well. Muta's picking off a couple key medevacs.
Drilling Claws is in effect, so the Widowmine's able to drop very fast.
Oh, but they're all clumped.
Did you see them? Okay, it looks like...
Oh, he spotted the Greater Spire. Just drop heading towards the main fluke, right over the Greater Spire. It is going to be defended with some speed leads.
But again, he's still only on 3 bases. Okay, the 4th command center just now being added on, and if like
3-3 is very late too. He just started that right now, whereas he could have had it done by now. With the way he was progressing upgrades, he's been at 2-2 for the last 3 minutes, which means 3-3 could have been complete.
Scan for Major, clearing out some more creep.
He scanned didn't see the Broodlords.
Very tense moment here as Major poking forward ever so slightly. 7-8 Broodlords in production in a situation where there's only 1 starport on the ground.
He's really relying on Widowmines in this composition, a very heavy Widowmine mixture. And Broodlings are pretty good at absorbing Widowmine hits.
And you're absolutely right, of course, essentially free units, so you're going to be really happy. And again, the Broodlings are up close and personal with the Marines, so the Widowmines, in shooting the Broodlings, are going to be shooting the Marines. So friendly fire is going to be an issue here for Major, as Violet now revealing his Broodlords. 2 Vikings immediately in production here for Major, but so many units here for Violet. Going to try to explode into this army with his Banelings. There's a decent amount of Widowmines left, but I'm not sure how many have actually detonated or still available.
They've all been used on the Broodlings, and now Major in full retreat. Actually, 1 taking out a few Banelings, but the Banelings, all the medevacs are down as well, and the Marines are trying to lure them into some more Widowmines.
There's like 4 more Widowmines there, so I don't think this is going to be the end of Major's army in the middle there necessarily just yet, but the production tab tells the story. 62 more Lings in production from Violet, still has those Broodlords alive, And he just needs an Overseer in this composition, and he's going to be very happy.
It's with those Brood Lords, but it just barely misses these 2 Widow Mines. It's not going to be too huge of a deal. Now he discovers him. He's going to finish those off. And Major, if you look at this, his main is mined out. His natural is all but mined out. And the 3rd base is running low. So he desperately needs the 4th. He's trying to take that one to the right side, but will Violet let him establish that base?
Violet going to start accumulating a lot of Banelings here. Has a great bank. 2 Vikings coming forward. 1 getting taken out by some Mutas. Widowmine friendly firing a lot of Marines there. Violet looking really good in this game, up 193 to 168 in supply. Keep in mind, Major is trying to get a 4th up on the right-hand side of the map, but he's remaking 4 medevacs here. When in a case where he might want Vikings, it's definitely a decision you don't want to have to make. And Major, he's running out of room here.
Speedling's really bothering the 3rd base, so Broodlord just slowly advance. He has nothing that can oppose him, really. The Banelings prevent the Marines from charging in. The Viking is slowly picking it away, but the Mutas can keep running and picking that off.
Yeah, here come the speed Banelings from Violet. Confident there aren't any Widow Mines left. And look at the destruction. So many Marines falling, and Major running out of all of his units. He has 12 Marines in production, but still so many units alive for Violet. He's staying maxed. He has 7 Ultras in the production tab. Violet taking a commanding victory here in Game 2. Or a lead, at least. An inevitable victory, in my opinion.
Major's just struggling to hold a natural. That's going to fall down. As soon as Violet decides to take that 4, thought he could. But he may just go straight for the heart, the production. Major's retreating back up into his main. The Vikings are if he can keep producing them, there's only a few Mutas left. So he may clear up the Brood Lords. But again, there's a 7 Ultras behind us.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Muta's all taken out by Marines.
Ling's going to be sprinting to the 3rd base. There's some Widow Mines being annoying. A Bonker getting targeted down. SCVs have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Major's going to have a miracle here, though.
The Vikings pushing back these Brood Lords. So he's trying to restabilize himself, but the bank of Violet is huge. The Ultras are now crossing the map. Does Violet know about the right side base? If he knows about the right side base...
the Overlord died earlier.
Oh, he sees... Okay, he sees mine. I mean, the Ultras can just move over there and kill a Commander, not a problem.
There are the Ultras.
Yeah.
Bunch of scans going down. And there's the GG from Major. Violet taking the 2-0. Just showing how absolutely dominant he is. I mean, it was one of those situations where like I haven't seen him play in a while, considering it's it's been since the round of 32, which is a good amount of time ago. But he's still good.
It was really impressive how easily he dispatched Major's aggression.
Yeah.
And what's super impressive about it is you consider almost every battle where Major was pushing towards his 4th base, there was an upgrade advantage. Like right here, it's 2-2 versus 1-1. He's a full double upgrades ahead of his opponent in this engagement. And earlier in the first push, it was a 1-1 Major versus 0-0. And just the way Violet knows exactly when to come in with the Banings, every Baning was so cost efficient. And that's what you have to do because you're down in upgrades, your speedings aren't going to cut it. It's all about those Baning hits. And every single engagement, Violet was able to just get those Baning hits exactly when he needed them.
Yeah, and then always had the safety measures too. I mean, he had additional bases behind, additional drones. He had the Ultralist transition prepared. Another situation where it seems like he just stayed one step ahead of Major. And again, identifying the lack of 4th base forever. That's really important as well. Having the Overlord there, spewing creep, and Major. He seemed like he had a lead early on, but such a big map on Whirlwind, it's kind of hard to take advantage of leads like that.
He tried to with the pressure, but it was really the control difference.
Yeah.
Violet's Baning splits, his decisions of when to engage with Banings were perfect. Yeah. Major put his units into corners a couple times, and every time he put his Marines in a corner where they couldn't back up, Violet's like, you guys are dead. And it happened time after time. He was able to sign medevacs. Just the control by Violet with the Mutas and Banings was just absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, great play there from Violet. He takes the 2-0, and he'll be advancing to the Premier League Season 2 of WCS America. Guys, Major is going to be dropping down to the Challenger League group stages, so now we have all 8 players decided who are advancing from the bracket stage of the Challenger League. There are still 32 players in the group stages. Of course, we'll be playing those out a little bit later. I think 2 or so weeks from now. 2 weeks from now and the 3rd week from now.
Yes.
But we're definitely going to be giving you all of those games. For broadcasting every single one of them. It's going to be a blast. But here we go. Bracket update. Apocalypse taken out top. Violet taking out Major. Scarlet over Jim. Theognis over Sen. Those 4 players will be in Premier League Season 2. Joining them will be these 4 players. Nestea, Puck, Polt, and everyone talking about DeMuslim. DeMuslim had, all these players, some of these players had really long roads to get to this point. I said, Puck, congratulations after he won. And he was like, he's so happy. He was, because of just how long it took to get to the Premier League. Again, some of these guys, they initially tried to go for the Premier League qualifier, and they just couldn't get far enough. And then they're like, all right, let's try the Challenger League qualifier. Puck having to beat Hyun, having to beat so many good players, DeMuslim as well. And then here they are in the bracket, and they're not starting well on into the bracket. Puck having to beat Idra, we'll get to walk over Idra, but having to beat Neeb, having to beat Suppi, and of course DeMuslim, having to beat Maker, XY, STC. Just so many storylines here in WCS America, setting up for what should be an awesome Season 2 of the Premier League.
The talent just keeps getting better and better and better. So many insanely good players. It's going to be an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Of course, Season 1 is not yet done. We actually have a bracket for you guys of what's happening this weekend. You better be there. If you're not there, I will be personally insulted. 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. It is the WCS America League Finals of Season 1. The top 5 players will advance to the global finals in Korea. We got Hero, Alicia, Moonglade, Ryung, Crank, Ally, Revival, Snoot. Fill out your brackets right now. Nick, tell me your bracket right now.
I love Ryung.
Okay.
So I would almost always say him, except TVP is his weakest matchup, and he's looking at, even if he gets past Moonglade, a Hero versus Alicia. So if I'm going to be, I have to pick Hero. I got to say it.
Hero the whole thing.
Hero the whole thing.
I agree. I'll agree. I think it's either going to be Hero Snoot final or Hero Crank final.
I really want to say Ryung, though, because I just love watching him play.
That's true.
So, I don't know. And then the best would be if Moonglade just says, you know what, I don't care, I'm going to beat everyone.
I know Moonglade has been practicing a lot.
Oh, yeah. And he really likes Zerg vs. Terran.
Yeah.
But he really hates Zerg vs. Protoss, and even if he gets past Ryung, he's guaranteed a really tough Protoss in the semifinals. It's
going to be a fun weekend, man.
There's no one who you can say is going to plow through the competition.
Yeah.
Even Hero, who's looked unstoppable.
Anything can happen to PvP.
And Alicia looked unstoppable, too. Alicia went, dropped only one map in the round of 16. Just crushed through. And the Alicia versus Nesty. Actually, did Alicia 2-0 Nesty, right?
Yeah.
I think he did.
Might have been a 2-1.
Might have been 2-1.
I know, I think you're right.
But I don't know, Alicia's shown some amazing play, really fun with the Void Rays and whatnot. Anyways, all of these guys are super insane. The race distribution is so nice, too. We got 3 Protoss, 3 Zerg, 2 Terran. A very good balance of players there.
Yeah.
The skill level's insane, too.
It was a 2-0, by the way.
2-0, okay. Yeah, Alicia's, a lot of people always underestimate Alicia because Alicia literally gets second place in events with 16 Kodas players consistently.
Yeah.
And then people just forget about him somehow.
I know. He got second in so many premier tournaments. Second place, in an MLG, in an IPL.
Another MLG.
Another MLG, one of the arenas. He's ridiculously good. Never count him out. Just so many awesome matches going to happen this weekend. Hero looking like a force to be reckoned with, but Alicia could make it happen. Definitely could happen. So be sure to tune in, guys. Again, 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday and Sunday. Mr. Bitter and Rotterdam will be joining us with some casting action. Really looking forward to that. What else do we need to discuss, Mr. Nick?
Well, coming up next is going to be Rules of Engagement. Of course, you saw those 8 players in their playoffs. Today on Rules of Engagement, we can take a look at Ryung's games, 2 of his maps against Pult, 1 of his maps against Alive. A lot of TVT action. I couldn't help myself. I love TVT. I love Ryung. Big fan of his positional play in TVT.
Yeah.
So you're looking at some of those games, so you can kind of know what to look forward to as far as Ryung's skill set and the way he thinks.
Looking forward to that, guys. That's coming up next on the stream. By the way, guys, we also have some videos that are slowly going up. Interviews with the players in the round of 8 of again, the America final. I think Alicia and Snoot are up. If I saw it on my Twitter somewhere. But definitely check those out. Really awesome videos.
YouTube.
Yeah, youtube.com/officialmlgsec2. Awesome interviews of the players getting ready for this weekend, of course, the oh-so-important finals of WCS America. Guys, this has been the Challenger League. Hopefully you guys have had a great week because we're done. I mean, that's Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We fulfilled our Challenger League obligations. Congratulations to the 8 players who have qualified for Season 2 of the WCS America Premier League. Remember, still 32 players remaining in the Challenger League. Half of them will join the existing 16 that are in the Premier League right now. So that's going to be coming up in the weeks to come. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Next up, it's Rules of Engagement. It's been Axel Toss and Axlab bringing you Challenger League coverage. And see you this weekend as well, 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. for the WCS America Final.